A hurricane tracking toward the U.S., an upper-level trough, and a developing tropical cyclone all create forecast havoc as we head into the weekend. And folks in the southeast U.S. need to get ready for a prolonged period of heavy rain and strong gusty winds. Hey there, friends, and welcome into the channel. I hope you've had a great week. Happy Friday to you. My name is Jason. I've been tracking weather for over 4 decades, and I've spent most of the morning looking at all of the guidance that's come in overnight, and even the last couple of hours, we've seen some data come in, looked at all of that, and I'm going to bring it to you here and show you what I'm seeing, give you the very latest about what's going on in the tropics and what may affect the United States, particularly the Southeast, as we work through the weekend and into the early part of next week. We've got 2 model camps with what might happen, and I'm going to explain both of those to you. I'll tell you what's most likely, but the bottom line is going to need to start getting prepared and thinking about what our action plan needs to be in the southeast should we receive a tropical cyclone impact. And certainly some of the data is looking a little bit concerning with what impacts we may see even well inland. So we're going to look at all of that today, and then we'll have your forecast for the U.S. in terms of the rest of the weekend for the rest of the nation. We're going to start here in the tropics. There is Humberto getting its act together. It's now a hurricane. You can see it getting organized. And here is area of interest, tropical wave 94L, and you can see it's got lots of robust convection there. It even almost looks like it's trying to spin a little bit. It's not quite there yet, but it is going in that direction. And we have a frontal boundary here along the east coast out ahead of a trough. This is going to play a pivotal role. This trough in the Mississippi Valley is going to play a pivotal role in what happens the course of the weekend too. Very complicated forecast out here. Another tropical wave out in the Atlantic, which we're not worried about right this minute. Here is 94L, and you can see it's got a lot of impressive bursts of convection with this wave affecting portions of Puerto Rico, the DR, Haiti, up here into parts of Cuba, even Turks and Caicos. Going to see some rain, gusty winds here. Be prepared for that. The Bahamas, as this moves up into your area, be prepared for heavy rain and gusty winds. This will start to form in the Bahamas over the next 24 to 48 hours, folks. I'm going to start a little bit different today and look at the ensembles. Yesterday we saw the European ensembles, GFS ensembles, and the Google DeepMind AI ensembles. We're going to look at those today again as well. You see 2 camps here. One has Humberto and its track out here in the pink. That's a strong hurricane going to get up into major hurricane status. And then over here to the left of that yellow line is 94L, and you can see quite a number of ensemble members take it into the coast or just along the coast. So that's quite a concerning number. Of the 51, I think, want to say about 30 or so bring it into that direction, and a couple others take it out to sea, and others stall it along the coast, at least through the end of this run. So that's what we're looking at with the European ensemble suite. GFS looks very, very similar to that. It has less members, but you can tell that many of them affect the southeast. And the Google DeepMind yesterday showed a lot of members going out to sea, which is indicated by these little kind of west to east or southwest to northeast lines here. Many more of them this morning bring it in toward the United States. And this is an AI model, so we're still learning about these, and they're still learning as well. But this is not a trend that we want to see. And folks, I'm going to show you here a high-end sort of scenario. This is the latest European model. The overnight run stalled it along the coast and brought it in, brought some rain, of course, heavy rain into the southeast. This is the very latest run. This is what I would consider a high-end scenario. This is not a forecast, but we're going to see fluctuations in the models, and this is showing you what could happen with a solution like the European is showing, which is absolutely on the table. We look at Sunday afternoon, and we have tropical storm. It looks like it's by this time a tropical storm exiting the Bahamas, tropical storm Imelda. So we roll it here into Monday afternoon. Look where it is now. It's developing even further, and it is off the coast of Charleston, headed toward Myrtle Beach. And as we get on into the overnight hours on Tuesday, it has strengthened further, and now it is a high-end tropical storm, low-end Category 1 hurricane, making landfall around the Myrtle Beach area, moving in toward Greenville, Spartanburg, just south of Charlotte. And it sort of dies as we go on out into Wednesday and Thursday. The circulation gets trapped in the southeast and gets absorbed into the broader circulation pattern that's dominating the U.S. Okay, so that's what's going on with the European in terms of the track of the system. What impacts does that have? Well, on the wind side of things, the European says, okay, well, we're going to make it really, really windy in here into the Piedmont and the mountains of North Carolina, into the foothills down into upper South Carolina as well, the northern half of South Carolina. That is possible. European often overdoes these wind maps, so when you see these oranges, these are 50s, even getting into the 60s. Those will be gusts, and we're going to see a lot of rain. Those kind of gusts on top of a lot of rain, if you went through Helene, you know what that means. A lot of power outages would happen in this scenario, okay? This is not a forecast. Again, it's a possibility, and I think the wind is probably overdone here in terms of this grand of a scale, but it is possible that we get some wind gusts out of this if the European track is right. And also from a precipitation standpoint, how much rain would fall in this scenario? Well, we start here Saturday morning. We're going to roll this up to Saturday morning. Okay, there we are. Several inches of rain have fallen in spots. We've got thunderstorm activity that will occur this afternoon and tomorrow across the southeast along and ahead of that front. And that rain will continue to pile up in spots through the day on Saturday. It's going to be a wet and soggy weekend here in the southeast, cloudy and damp, regardless of what happens from a tropical standpoint. But as we get on into Sunday, probably see a little less to start the day, especially over here in the western portion of the southeast. And then as we get on through Sunday in the morning and the afternoon, we start to see those rainfall totals pick up as the coastal front moves in ahead of Imelda as she approaches through the evening hours on Sunday into Monday. See that rain continue to pick up along that frontal boundary as it advances to the west, and you can see all of those totals just increasing. And as we get overnight Monday, that's when the real fireworks begin, with the system coming in and just dumping rain for several days here across the Piedmont sections of the Carolinas into Virginia and even back into western Tennessee and Kentucky. That would bring rainfall totals in the neighborhood of 6 inches over a wide area. That's what these gray colors indicate, with some spots picking up in excess of a foot. And it's still raining. This run goes out to Thursday, overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. That's as far as this run goes, and it's still raining. This will be a very, very bad worst case scenario. We see a lot of power outages, probably some trees down, and a lot of flooding if this were to pan out. Some of the other models are not so enthusiastic about that. If we look at the European ensemble through 144 hours, look at this. What do we see? We see a big signal for at least 2 to 3 inches of rain over a broad area. All of this, what you're seeing in red here, this is 2 inches or more of rain, okay? The darker the colors, the more rain that you see. European ensemble is made up of 51 members, and they're all combined together to show you quite a bit of rain here. And if we take a look at what the GFS ensemble is showing, look at that. Does that look similar or what? Very, very similar. A little bit more rain off the coast because it kind of stalls. Some of the ensemble members stall the system off the coast. Would continue to rain out here. That would be very, very bad, but very similar to the European ensemble. So we've got some agreement around the ensembles. This is a trend of the last 3 European ensemble mean runs, and look what happens. It's bringing more and more and more rain farther and farther west. And a lot of times when you have these troughs working in and a tropical system working in, the models tend to adjust the heaviest precip axis a little bit farther north and a little bit farther west, just based on the dynamics of the trough and the interaction between that and the tropical cyclone. Here is the European AI on the other hand, and it's going to tell us a different story. Look at this. This is the 0Z run from last evening. Look what happens. It brings the system up here just off of the coast, and oh boy, there goes Humberto. You can barely see it on your screen. You get a little pinwheel action, and it follows Humberto right out to sea. European AI wants nothing of that. Still going to rain through the weekend, but next week would clear up and you would not have any hurricane or tropical cyclone to deal with. This is the very latest run of the European AI, and look what happens here. It makes it a lot closer to the coast, bringing in some heavy rain, some surf in here to the southeast coast, strengthens it pretty well as well. Look at that, 974 millibars, and then it pinwheels it around a little bit and drags it up and then back out again, okay? So we're on a knife's edge with this. These two systems, as they interact, if Humberto gets too close, if 94L gets delayed, then you're going to see those two interact and slingshot. The Fujiwara effect's going to slingshot, have those things rotate and slingshot 94L out. However, if they stay far enough apart, 94L gets its act together and starts to move up quickly ahead of Humberto, it's going to go into the southeast United States, bring a lot of rain, some wind as well, depending on the strength. Here are the tropical models that are the very, very latest tropical models, and many of them bring it on up here into the southeast, from Georgia into South Carolina, into North Carolina. Only a couple of them turn it out. So concerning trends, folks, in the ensemble suite, some of the operational models as well. Here's what's going on in terms of the situation out in the Atlantic. There's Humberto, winds of 75 miles per hour now, moving at a rapid 3 miles per hour, so it's not going anywhere fast. We want to see this pick up speed and get over here before this thing develops over here, and there's your 90% chance of 94L developing into Imelda. So we're going to watch this over the next couple of days, but we've seen some concerning trends. There's the official track for Humberto. It's going to get major hurricane status. It's already a hurricane. It's going to get major hurricane status pretty soon. It's feeling some warm waters, a good upper level environment. Could get up to category 4 maybe. So look at that. That's something else. Bermuda, you need to watch out. You're within the cone, very wide as we get way on out here in time. So watch out for impacts. That would be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Okay, so watch out for that if you're Bermuda. That's the tropical update. I'm going to take a look at the weather for the rest of the United States as we work through the weekend. Lot of possibilities here. The bottom line is we need to see this cyclone form. It hasn't even formed yet. Once it forms and has a center, the models will all get a better handle on it. You'll see a convergence of agreement. Right now, we're waiting for it to form, and until it does so, we're still up in the air. But you need to take this seriously if you live in the southeast and start to think about what you need if a tropical cyclone begins to impact your area with heavy rains and strong winds, and you might need, be out of power for a couple of days. So start thinking about that. You don't want to be the last one at the grocery store. If you've ever been in an emergency situation, you know how that feels, okay? So start to get prepared. Right now, I've got your weather IQ question coming up, and then we'll rapidly take a look at the forecast for the rest of the U.S. All right, folks, got your weather IQ question today, and it is regarding a blue norther. Have you ever heard of that term? Well, if you have not, you're about to learn what it is, and if you have, maybe you already know the answer to the question. But I got to read the question first. Here it is. Which of the following is a characteristic of a blue norther? Gusty winds, rapid temperature drop, clearing skies, or all of the above? If you know it or just want to have a little bit of fun and guess, type it in the comments section. If you don't, hang out to the end of the show. I'll tell you what it is and when it is most likely to occur. But right now, we're going to look at the weekend forecast for the rest of the country. Folks, we've got a complex weather situation shaping up, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't joined the team already, and turn those notifications on. I'll be putting out more videos as things come together through the course of the weekend. Make sure you're in the loop on that. And if you like the content, please give it a like and certainly leave a comment. Let me know where you're commenting from. If there's anything I can pray over about, put it in the comment section. Please pray for me. We all need that. I pray for you guys every single day, but if there's anything specific, let me know, and certainly be happy to do that. Now, taking a look at the satellite picture, what's going on right now, we've got cloud cover moving into the Pacific Northwest ahead of another system up there moving into Canada. Another upper low spinning here in the desert Southwest with some tropical moisture here, and you're seeing some thunderstorms and rain out here in parts of Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado this morning, and a big frontal boundary ahead of a trough that's working through the Great Lakes northeast and up and down east of the Mississippi Valley, with the exception of the coastal sections of North Carolina and into Florida too. The Sunshine State is rather sunny this morning, but a lot of rain out here and clouds ahead of that frontal boundary and along it as well. The upper level situation, we've been looking at this the last couple of days. This is pivotal in terms of how things work, in terms of what we see at the ground. There is Humberto way out here, and there is tropical wave that would be Imelda down here, and this is a trough that we've been talking about in the upper levels of the atmosphere, okay? So it is still sitting back to the west of the southeast, big ridge over central Canada, and there is that upper low out here in the desert southwest, kind of, or in California rather. It sometimes feels like a desert in parts of southern California, but there we go. We advance this along through Saturday afternoon. We'll stop it right here. Trough, ridge, trough. That's what we've got over the United States. Okay, Humberto is still well out here north of the islands, and Imelda is somewhere in the Bahamas area getting its act together. This trough is going to close off as this ridge builds in over top, these bright kind of dull orange colors indicative of ridging. And as this takes place over the next couple of days, there's Sunday afternoon, look at what happens by Monday. Big ridge, just gigantic ridge goes up here, and this trough starts to dampen out, but it's closing off. Normally you'd see this circle and you think, well, there's a big ridge over the southeast. It's actually upper level low. It's a very weak one now. It has turned into over the course of the weekend, and that will remain in place and even get a little bit stronger as it absorbs, according to the European Ensemble, portion of Imelda as it works in on Tuesday. Okay, so that's what we're looking at, and that ridge just sort of holds everything back and in place, keeps a stagnant pattern over the southeast through much of the week, and eventually we get high pressure ridging down the eastern slopes of the Alps, get a little bit of damming, and that ridge will migrate out into Canada, and as we go way out in time, it gets replaced by another ridge up there. Any additional tropical activity would find itself kind of getting in the same pattern as Imelda, but that's what's going on with the upper pattern, and pivotal. It's pivotal in what and how Imelda kind of turns out. If that upper low was back to the west, then we may see less influence and a less pull from Imelda, from that into the United States for Imelda. And so here is the radar as we take a look at this afternoon. It's Friday afternoon. This is Friday morning, rather. We've got rain across the southeast. As we go through the day today, a few showers working through the northeast, but bulk of the rain's in the southeast and the southwest, with both of those upper troughs, upper lows, whatever you want to call those. And then we get on in toward Friday night. We'll see a lot of that rain continue through the evening hours and even hold together through overnight hours on Saturday as little waves of energy in the upper level flow, moisture pulling in from the Gulf, works through the southeast. Things will die out in the southwest, but then refire again out here in the southwest Saturday afternoon. A few showers working in the Pacific Northwest, but again, Saturday afternoon and evening, we'll see plenty of rain through the mid-Atlantic back to the southeast, and things will kind of taper off. And look what happens as we get on in towards Sunday morning. Coastal fronts pushing in, kind of dry out to the west, but you've got the coastal front pushing into the Piedmont sections of South and North Carolina. And here comes Imelda. A few more showers getting ready to fire up out there in the desert southwest as well as we work through the afternoon. You'll see that again, the Four Corners region up into the Rockies out there in the Intermountain West. But lots of rain getting ready to come in and falling through Sunday. And then as we get on toward Monday morning, there is the center of circulation with the tropical cyclone. So most of the country, northeast up the central portion of the country, back in the central plains and western portions of the southeast, should eventually dry out and have a fairly nice weekend. Temperature-wise, though, what is that going to look like? Well, pretty much everybody's above normal. 60s for highs today across the northern tier. Then we get into the 70s and 80s pretty quickly. 90s way down here in Florida and South Texas. But everybody else, San Joaquin Valley as well, everybody else in the 60s and 70s for highs today. As we work through the day tomorrow, much the same regime, a little bit cooler maybe up here in northern Maine, but warm across the south and muggy as well, and warmth returning into the plains. Everybody else looking to be in the 70s and 80s for highs, and except the higher peaks of the Rocky Mountains. And then the same temperature regime, you can sort of see hints of that wedging start to come into play as we get on into Sunday. And if we roll it out to Monday, you'll see that again pretty prominently here is, the circulation of that storm may be inland and providing clouds and rain here. And in cooler, we've got a new system pushing in out west. We'll see a lot of rain coming in as we work through the first part of next week out west. 6 to 10 day from October the 1st through the 5th. Above normal for much of the nation, going to be near or below on the coast with clouds and potential scattered showers, even rainfall from the cyclone below in Alaska, above in Hawaii, and precipitation above in the southeast as you would expect. Above as we got a new system working in, bringing a lot of rain here to the west. Also in the middle of the country below from the Great Lakes back to South Texas, below in Alaska, and near normal in Hawaii. And that's your weekend forecast. I hope that gives you good context around what's going on. I'm going to wrap things up with space weather and get you out of here with the answer to the IQ question. Not much going on from a space weather standpoint, so we're going to rip through this really quickly. KP flat, proton flux flat, X-ray flux flat, no solar flares. We do have some coronal holes that'll be turning toward us, maybe enhancing the solar wind over the next week or so, but nothing else happening. Sunspots are turning toward us and growing and changing, but no solar flaring from any of those just yet. We did have an earthquake, actually 3 of them, in the 5 to 6 moment magnitude range down here in Venezuela. That's where this is. You see that area down here, and that's Venezuela right there. And fortunately, I don't think there were any casualties, not a lot of damage from this, but it could have been a lot worse. They were pretty shallow too. Closer to home, nothing going on there. Moon phases, all right, moon information. Why do I show this? Because I like it. That's why it's 19.7%. We're at a waxing crescent. We're getting brighter and brighter, heading up to full moon phase on October the 6th. That'll be harvest moon. I hope it's one of those where it's like really orange at the surface and kind of big as it comes up over the horizon. We'll be able to see that in the evening. That'd be kind of fun. I always like that. And that brings us to the answer to today's IQ question. And here is the question: which of the following is a characteristic of a blue norther? Gusty winds, rapid temp drop, clearing skies, or all of the above? And the answer is all of the above. Those are characteristics of a blue norther. What is it? It is a fall or winter cold front that sweeps rapidly out of Canada, can bring some pretty significant weather along with it too, but it's most noted for its significant temperature drops behind the front. Might be 70 degrees, and then front passes through an hour later, it's 30 or 40 degrees. That can happen with a blue norther. It's most prominently felt in the central plains and down into Texas, where it's really warm and all of a sudden it's really cold as a blue norther races through. One of the most famous blue northers occurred November the 11th in 1911. And so what happened was on the morning of November 11th, many cities across the central U.S. experienced unusually warm weather. Kansas City, for example, reached 76 by midday. By evening, a powerful Arctic front blasted through, and within just 12 hours, temperatures plummeted into the teens and single digits. That is a fairly strong blue norther. Blizzard conditions were felt, and even rain and tornadoes occurred out ahead of the front, so they can bring hazardous weather. That is a blue norther. Now you know the weather. Folks, you need to be prepared. In the southeast, start getting your action plan together, start thinking about it. You don't need to board up your house, but start thinking about what you need to get in case the power is going to be out, because there are some scenarios that are making that much more of a reality. We're going to know more as that system develops in the Caribbean over the next couple of days and be able to converge the forecast and give you something that you can chew on and take to the bank. But right now, we're still in watch mode, so keep watching and stay tuned. I'll be back again with another update as things change. You can follow me on X at Real Cold Rain. In the meantime, hope you have a wonderful end to your week, Friday, and have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you back soon.